Hello everybody and welcome back for the second segment of the March 3rd Trips and Traps. Once again, Andy Serling, Eric Donovan.
Two more races to bring you. We'll get things started from the 7th race on February 25th, and we're looking at the 6 Rock Hall Honey, who was able to take advantage of the inside speed favoring track, and the 7 Positive Prospect. And one thing first, though, the scratches in this race definitely helped Rock Hall Honey, because Hollywood Hills, who would have been an outside speed, certainly would have put some pressure on Rock Hall Honey.
Right, not only Hollywood Hills, but there was another scratch in the race who I sort of can't remember off the top of my head that was also a speed. And I thought this was this race, as much as any race that was run during the Wednesday and Thursday races, epitomized the racetrack getting a horse home. Because the bottom line is, and I don't want to criticize Rock Hall Honey, but you can look at her PPs. She's the second slowest horse in this race. Yet, she was the clear speed on paper after the scratches. She gets off the lead. Now, I don't like that Positive Prospect was a little bit sluggish out of the race, and she sort of sits along in second. She never even really put a dent into her. I thought it was a negative for Positive Prospect, even when the track was against her. You know, maybe the conditions, but you know, okay, it's snowing, I understand, but everybody else is dealing with them as well. But this speed track carried Rock Hall.
No, there's no doubt about it. And you even see the third place horse right now, Unicorn Girl, just sit, you know, that's behind Pocket Trip down on the inside, and these 3 horses are just going to run 1, 2, 3 around the track basically here. And there's no doubt about it that the inside speed was the way to go all week, and definitely helped Rock Hall Honey here. And you know, this is a horse that's probably going to have a little bit of an inflated fig next time out when she runs, and I think just an absolute bet against.
I couldn't agree more. You really have to be very careful about these February 24th and 25th races of taking the figures and the races. A lot of these winners that were speed horses get at face value. These are horses you want to avoid in the future and bet against. It's like horses that ride gold rails. These are horses that absolutely rode a strong bias, and this horse of all of them, Rock Hall Honey, epitomizes them. But we are going to show one more race in this segment, but also this is from Sunday, and this was the Broadway handicap, and in my opinion, the winner, Lights Off Annie, had a lot of things go her way.
Well, the first thing that goes her way is the horse right to her outside, and the heavy favorite in the race, rightly so, breaks a couple of beats slowly here. And you know, I thought there were a couple other speed horses in the race, but no one with the speed that could match Lights Off Annie if rightly so doesn't go to the front. And here's the way the race unfolds.
Yeah, you know, once I think that a lot of riders were expecting rightly so would go. Not that worried about Lights Off Annie, who ran a mediocre race in her return race. But when rightly so didn't break here, Lights Off Annie gets loose in the lead, and Sapphire Sky, who's a closer and might have been in a position to take advantage of some speed, has to be closer than she wants to be. Now, she does like a wet track, but I thought she was much the best in this race.
I agree, and we'll take a look at even more of that, more of the reason why we think she's much the best in here when they come through the stretch. And also keep in mind that this is 6 furlongs, is a shorter distance than Sapphire Sky is used to running, and she hasn't run since November. She's a better 7-furlong mile horse, better in the slop or mud, no doubt about it. But, you know, right here, Lights Off Annie getting the perfect trip, rightly so. You know, I think has a chance to run down Lights Off Annie here, to be, you know, pretty fair, and we'll see Sapphire Sky, who's down on the rail there, getting a tough spot. Maybe at some point around the 3/16 pole or even sooner, you'd like to see Sapphire Sky try to come off the rail a little bit.
Well, there's a point coming up when perhaps the rider, I think, could have gotten Sapphire Sky, David Cohen, to the outside, right here. He chooses not to. The winner's drifting, so he can't split horses. He's got to go inside. It ain't happening, and it just never worked out for a horse that absolutely was best in this race and ran against the grain of the way the race was run. Rightly so was disappointing in here, getting left or not in there. I mean, she got left a little bit. Her braking slowly changed dynamic of the race, but it shouldn't have worked that much against her. Right. She's okay, and she was off a layoff. But she, too, was a little bit dressed up by having things in her favor in her prior efforts.
Absolutely. She won a couple of big stakes races for New York breds last fall, including the Iroquois on a showcase day over at Belmont. And, you know, I thought she should have been second in the race the way the race unfolded. She's a talented horse with some quality. There's no reason why she should have gotten beat by Sapphire Sky. Excellent effort from Sapphire Sky. Not so much from Rightly So. And obviously Lights Off Annie helped by the track.
Yeah. I mean, Lights Off Annie, we're not trying to be too hard on her, but she had a lot of things go in her favor in this race that got her the money. Rightly so, a horse I had wanted to bet against her. I couldn't make a strong case for anybody else in this race, because don't forget, Showcase Day speed was very good, and that race at Aqueduct in her last race, it was a fair pace she sat, but she got right over to a rail that was pretty strong that day. We'll see where she goes from there. We'll see where they all end up in here. I'm looking to play Sapphire Sky. We'll see if there's some more pace next time they run, though I like she had more speed in this race.
Yeah, it's good that she's tactical and versatile now, and she can lay up a little closer to the pace if it's slow and still come with the good finishes. You saw a lot of times you see horses kind of taken out of the game where they're up closer to the pace and they don't quite have the same finish.
I agree, and the fact that it was a situation and she still finished, the wet track may have helped, but she's okay. That does it for this week's Trips and Traps. Short second segment. Once again, the email address, tripsandtraps@nairainc.com. We love hearing from you, and thanks for watching.